Welcome to Faith and Freedom. For the next few minutes, we hope to inform, inspire, and encourage you as we discuss the legal victories and challenges to your fundamental freedoms and religious liberties. Faith and Freedom comes to you from Liberty Counsel, a civil liberties education and legal defense organization. Join us now as Matt Staver, the President and General Counsel of Liberty Counsel, explains the latest legal issues all across this country in the courtrooms of America. Liberty Counsel is winning the battle for your constitutional freedoms.
A federal court upholds a moment of silence law. Hi, I'm Matt Staver, founder and chairman of Liberty Counsel and dean of Liberty University School of Law. Joining me is Matt Barber, director of cultural affairs for Liberty Counsel and associate dean for the law school. Matt, it is telling that the American Civil Liberties Union does not even want to tolerate a moment of silence. That essentially says that you can begin the school day and just have a 60-second 2-minute at most moment of silence where the individual students choose to do whatever he or she wants to do. The ACLU says that's an establishment of religion. That shows how radical this organization has become and is.
It betrays the ACLU's just the ingrained hostility that courses through their veins toward Christianity. The fact that there might even be the chance during the time a moment of silence that somebody might pray to the creator of the universe. They just cannot abide that possibility. But, you know, Matt, a hallmark of communism is the abolition of religion. Karl Marx talked about, how important it was to abolish religion. It was the opiate of the masses, as he called it. We need to be very, very clear here. The ACLU was founded by Roger Baldwin, an avowed communist. He said, I'm going to quote here, he said, "I am for socialism, disarmament, and ultimately for abolishing the state itself. I seek the social ownership of property, the abolition of the propertied class, and the sole control of those who produce wealth. Communism is the goal." So
was that Barack Obama?
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
But that's the same
two peas in a pod.
Yeah.
Certainly Roger Baldwin, the founder of it, the ACLU, and Barack Obama. But communism is the goal. That's his own word. So it's no surprise that the ACLU, even to this day, has such hostility toward Christianity.
Yeah, and this particular case was brought by a radio talk show host, Rob Sherman. Now, Sherman is an atheist, and he's been causing trouble up there in that Illinois, Wisconsin area for some time, but particularly Illinois. He filed a case many years ago against a city seal that had 4 quadrants representing the different aspects of the community, a small town, and one of the quadrants had a cross to represent the many churches.
Was considered a sin that dare not speak its name. They wouldn't even discuss it. It was considered so repulsive and detestable. At
Buffalo Grove High School in suburban Chicago. This law is a statewide law. It's called the Illinois Silent Reflection and Student Prayer Act. Now, the ACLU and Rob Sherman and the atheist, they say that it's unconstitutional because it even mentions the word prayer. But the fact of the matter is, when teachers say that we're going to start the day with a moment of silence, even if they say silent reflection or student prayer, they're not telling the students what to say. The student on his or her own choice can pray silently. They can pray in any way they want to. They can think about Monday Night Football. They can look at their tennis shoes. They can think about the test they're getting ready to take. Nobody's telling them what to do. It's a opportunity for the students to have a moment of silence to begin the day. And if that's an establishment of religion, which that's what they argue, then what they really want is they want a completely atheistic, hostile state towards any kind of religion. They don't even want religion accommodated, because at least you can argue that this is an accommodation of people who want to have a moment to have a silent time or a prayer time. It's an accommodation, just like Title VII accommodates religious employers so that churches don't have to hire people contrary to their religious belief. If you can't even accommodate religion, then that means you have to have a collision course with the government in a hostile attitude toward religion in every aspect.
How the mental gymnastics that it takes to arrive at this position of Mr. Sherman and the ACLU here, it's astounding. When you look to the historical record, the unequivocal historical record, Thomas Jefferson, they love to cite him as a big proponent of separation of church and state. He insisted that the Bible be one of the primary textbooks in every school across the country. They used in first grade the New England Primer, which Liberty Counsel, if people would like to get a copy of that, they can go to our website, lc.org, or give us a call, 1-800-671-1776. But the New England Primer was a little booklet that first graders all across the country learned to read out of. What's in the New England Primer? Bible verses.
Yeah, it's not just a moment of silence. It's the Lord's Prayer, Bible verses.
They started prayer in school. They started the day with prayer in school across the country, and yet here we are today. They've somehow twisted and mangled and stretched the Establishment Clause, which simply says Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion. Congress, they always love to forget the second part of that, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. They seek to do just that, the ACLU, to prohibit the free exercise of religion.
And it's they attacked prayer in school in the 1960s, which was a radical departure from anything that had happened before that, 1962 and
Marie
63.
Madeline O'Hare and
Madeline Murray O'Hare.
Madeline Murray O'Hare, thank you.
And they wanted to have this prayer that was read at the beginning of the school day, which was a very general prayer, and they wanted to have that thrown out, and the Supreme Court ultimately did. And in doing so, the Supreme Court literally veered away from all this history. Like you're saying, the New England Primer, if you open up the New England Primer at the very front, it has how you teach the kids the morning and evening prayer. And that's what they learned as part of their ABCs. They said, okay, now kids, let's recite the morning prayer for today. And let's learn the evening prayer that when you go home and you get ready to go to bed, here's the evening prayer that you give and you say. That's all part of this history. And the Supreme Court veered away from that in the 1960s. Well, the ACLU and the atheist groups that are militant now, they wanted to veer away even more. So it's just one slippery slope after another, so that instead of the Constitution recognizing the unalienable right to worship God according to the dictates of your conscience, for the government not to force you to belong to a particular denomination and not to prohibit your free exercise there, if they want to now take that same First Amendment and use it as a sword to cut and slash any kind of religious expression.
Well, the good news is the Seventh Circuit has upheld this moment of silence, Matt, but I've asked this question a number of times. At what point, based on the fact that, consider, for instance, that Liberty Counsel, we go up, we're here kind of as a firewall to protect people from the ACLU. What's our win-loss record? About 92% of the time we go up against the ACLU, we whoop them. At what point do the courts start looking at the ACLU and saying, how many, you've lost on this issue over and over and over again. You're filing frivolous lawsuits trying to push a political agenda. At what point does the ACLU start to be held accountable for these frivolous lawsuits?
Well, we actually had a case like that where the ACLU was held accountable for filing a lawsuit against In God We Trust, the national motto. And the national motto, In God We Trust, they filed suit against it. There was a number of cases that upheld it. The ACLU was required to pay attorney's fees for bringing that frivolous case. The fact of the matter is we need good judges. And that's why Liberty University School of Law is training a whole new generation of lawyers and judges and policymakers and world leaders in the rule of law. And I think that's what we also need. We need to train good judges. We need to train good lawyers. That's what we're doing at Liberty University School of Law and Liberty Counsel. We need to elect the right kind of people to office, whether they're judges or whether they're people who appoint judges. We need to vote our values, and when you do, good things can happen where people, and we're not talking about having a judge with a predetermined agenda. We're talking about a judge that will interpret the law according to how it's intended. And that's all we ask for. And if the judge has to interpret it in a way that we don't like, well, then the recourse is we, the people, have the option to change the law, whether it's through a constitutional amendment or through a statute. But we just want judges who will interpret the law, and no reasonable judge could look at this and say that this moment of silence is an establishment of religion.
Well, the good news is, as President John Adams said, the Constitution is only appropriate and will only work for a religious and moral people. So we know when we have religious and moral judges in place, they're going to interpret the Constitution appropriately.
That's right. Well, give us a call at Liberty Counsel, 1-800-671-1776. Matt Barber mentioned the New England Primer. You can get a copy of that for only $7 plus shipping and handling. It's a great book that was used for 200 or so years in American history, all the way up through the early 1900s. And it has the ABCs with Bible verses. It has prayer. It has religious and moral stories in it. And this is what was taught in American public schools for nearly 200 plus years. Call Liberty Counsel, 1-800-671-1776, and ask for the New England Primer, or order it on the website at lc.org. That's lc.org.
You have been listening to Matt Staver of Liberty Counsel. Our hope is to encourage and inspire you to stand up for your faith, family, and freedoms. We can accomplish a lot when we work together. Get informed and get involved today. Sign up for our free monthly newsletter, The Liberator. We will send it out to you free of charge. Stay informed with our Liberty Alert email update. Just click on the website at www.lc.org or call us at 1-800-671-1776. Tune in next time to learn more about your rights right here on Faith and Freedom.